Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, nearly 7 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's disease, and caring for people with this devastating chronic disease costs us some $360 billion a year. I am the author of a law that's known as the BOLD Act. It takes a public health approach to Alzheimer's. It educates providers, promotes earlier diagnosis, it helps caregivers, and it also promotes lifestyle changes. I have worked very hard to make sure that HHS has the resources to carry out this law, which was just recently extended. I'm concerned that the reductions in force of approximately 10,000 staff across HHS will completely undermine this act. And this act, in many ways, is very consistent with your approach of looking at public health issues for chronic diseases. For example, the Healthy Aging Branch administers the BOLD Act for Alzheimer's. It has lost all of its staff. So how can you ensure that the CDC continues to implement the BOLD Act and the Alzheimer's programs under it when all of the staff responsible for that administration have either been placed on administrative leave or let go?
I don't know enough about that program, but I know that under that division has been folded into the Agency for Healthy America. And a lot of the reports that whole divisions have been liquidated were just wrong. They were divisions that were being reassigned under the reorg. Now, I'm under a constraint here because at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, we were told that a federal judge granted a TRO in our case on the reorg. And my attorneys have asked me not to talk about any details of the reorg today. But on that budget line, I will work with you. I'm committed. Alzheimer's is run in my family. As you know my cousin Maria Shriver, who's deeply involved in it. The NIH had a very, very checkered history on studying Alzheimer's because of the amyloid plaque scandal. And we have an opportunity now to do really good science and find a cure very quickly, and also find out, equally importantly, why so many people are getting Alzheimer's in this generation. I want to make that happen. I want to work with you, Senator, to make sure that that happens and that those programs continue.
Thank you. I chaired recently the first Appropriations Committee hearing of the year, and we focused on biomedical research and how important it is that America not lose its global edge in innovation that's producing life-saving and life-enhancing discoveries. As among the many issues that we covered, as you might expect, the hearing explored the 15% arbitrary one-size-fits-all percent cap that NIH has imposed on indirect but still research-related costs for its grants. What we heard is that this cap will mean less basic research, fewer clinical trials, and that it will also cause our scientists and researchers to leave the United States and go to other countries. I believe strongly that this proposed cap is poorly thought out, that it's harmful, and I know that it violates current law because since 2018, we've included in the appropriations bill specific language that prevents NIH from imposing such a cap. So I know the system needs to be looked at, but are you reviewing how NIH's approach of this one-size-fits-all 15% cap on indirect costs would affect laboratories, whether they're private nonprofit labs or whether they're in universities, as far as doing crucial biomedical research?
Yeah, Senator, we are, and you and I have talked about this issue. And I think the impetus for the cap was that there were a lot of private universities with giant endowments like Stanford and Harvard that were getting indirect payments of 78%. What that means, if you get $1 million grant, NIH then has to pay you an extra $780,000 for administrative costs, and a lot of those costs weren't even going to anything to do with science. They were going to, the university budget. And in order to curb that abuse, we adopted a 15%, which is the industry standard. That's what the Gates Foundation or any other foundation would pay. But I understand the University of Maine, University of Alabama, many other universities, state universities, were not abusing it. We lost about $9 billion a year in those kind of costs. And so we have a plan for how to address issues like what's happening at the University of Maine. I'm being gavelled out, so I will talk to you privately about that.
Thank you.